Today I'm going to talk about a weird topic for a financial planner. I'm going to tell you about why I hate budgets and budgeting. And I'm sure you expect, if you come to see me, the first thing I'm going to do is, say, why don't you have a budget? What's wrong with you? You don't know where your money's going. You have to budget. You're never going to get ahead if you don't control every dollar you have. Well, that's not my philosophy. I am not going to say that to you. I will certainly give you some ideas, but that is not going to be the first thing that I talk to you about. Why do I hate budgets? Well, the first thing is I'm super stubborn. I hate being told what to do, even if that's myself who's telling me what to do. So if I have a software program or paper, a line item that says you're only supposed to spend this much money on this item, I'm like, no, why? I freak out. I'm an adult. It's my money. I am going to do whatever I want to do with this money. You can't tell me what to do. So it's backfired already. I'm already, not happy with the control that's imposed by a budget. Also, I find that budgets are often just arbitrary numbers. You go on one of those, and I'm sure there's some for Canada, but I've seen, how does the average American, spend their money? What percentage goes to housing, vehicles, clothing, healthcare, etc. So, same idea with Canadians. There's that rule of thumb that, you should only spend about a third of your money on housing. And I will get into my whole why I hate rule of thumb rants in another video. But for one person, maybe spending 1/10 of your money on housing is the perfect thing for you to do. Maybe it's 75% of your money on housing. I don't want you to compare yourself to other people. They have their lives, they have their priorities, they have their situation, you have yours. Don't use these arbitrary rules, and just because you want to spend more money on food and another person says they don't want to, don't worry about that. You do what works for you and your life. Which leads into the next thing, that budgets, I find, usually ignore your priorities. And what does, I'm not particularly religious, but what is your soul? What does your innermost self actually want? Your outer body just kind of wants those impulses, right? Like, oh, there's a cookie, I want to eat it. And then inside you might be like, oh, now I feel bad. Did I really enjoy that? Was I just eating it because I was bored and I felt bad about myself? Or was it something you actually wanted? So I want you to think about priorities as in, if you are at peace with yourself, what is your real values in life? What do you really want? What makes you feel good in that long-term, peaceful, content way? Not that quick rush of, a chocolate hit or buying something new with the excitement of that purchase. What will make you have some long-term satisfaction? As far as quantity, of course, usually less is better. One of the reasons that I, don't go and get those fancy coffees all the time, one, they're expensive, and I'm cheap and lazy, well, frugal and lazy. So, but I also want to keep it as a treat. I want things to be special, right? I'm not going to enjoy it if I get it every day. It's going to lose its enjoyment for me. If I go and get a caramel macchiato once a year, then, yay, it's fun. It's, something novel. And I also tend to feel that way about desserts in restaurants. I don't know if you're like me, but I want to have a little bit of a dessert, but they're always so big, and all that sugar makes me feel terrible. I want them to be, maybe a third of the size and a third of the price. That'd be perfect for me. I don't want so much of something that I don't enjoy it anymore. And on the other hand, you don't want so little of something that you're unhappy either. Back when I was a lot younger, I was quite broke and lived in really old, cold houses, and I didn't have enough blankets. And to me, that's poverty, is to not be able to afford enough blankets or heating to not be freezing at night. I want enough blankets, but do I want to go and then become a blanket hoarder and have, 10, 20 blankets that I'm not actually using? No, I want enough blankets. I want enough that I'm warm, maybe one or two backup blankets, and that's it. For every aspect of your life, you need to find that personal enough point. What is the perfect amount for you? And don't go above that. Which brings me to another point about budgets, is that often if you say, okay, I have $100 to spend on whatever, entertainment this month, alcohol, whatever, whatever you want, are you then spending up to that max thoughtlessly? Are you just saying, okay, I have this money, it's already allocated for this category, I'm just going to spend it anyhow? And then you go into this mindless, unconscious spending, which one of the first things you're going to talk to me about when we talk to each other about this is mindfulness. Spending consciously and being aware of the reason for every purchase. How much do you actually want that item? I never want you to use a number to just spend recklessly. So that is my rant on budgets. I definitely have, some kind of budget related, tools. Of course, I'm going to tell you to track your money, because that to me is quite different than budgeting. And we're going to think about every purchase you make, but the typical strict number-based budget is not something that I generally advocate. So if this sounds good, if you'd love to talk to someone who also hates budgets, message me. Let's set up, a first coffee meeting. Let me buy you whatever size of dessert you want, whatever fancy beverage you want, and let's get to know each other more.